Hey YouTubers, we're going to go ahead and remove and replace a door check strap on a second generation 2001 Toyota RAV4. Okay, if you look right here, I'm going to tap it right there. That's the door check strap. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, on the rear one you remove, there's one bolt, and you remove that bolt. On this one, you don't have to remove the bolt. You're going to pop this pin out with a hammer. Gently pop it out. And then right back in there, there are two 10mm bolts. And you'll remove those 10mm bolts. Okay, a quick summation. We're going to go ahead and remove the door check strap. To remove it, we're going to have to remove the door panel. To remove the door panel, we're going to remove this piece of trim right here. Then there's two Phillips head screws in there. There's a cosmetic cover here, and then we're going to remove that Phillips head screw, and then we're going to remove this piece of trim right here. We're going to remove, I'm going to call this the master switch, but we're going to go ahead and remove that and then disconnect the electrical connector. We're going to remove this plastic screw, which is really a clip, and then we're going to remove right here so we can lift up, we're going to remove this little speaker cover. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this piece of trim right here. To do that, we're going to go ahead and right underneath there, we're going to stick a screwdriver. There's actually a little empty space right there. We'll go ahead and put it in there, and then we're going to go ahead and push up, get our screwdriver a little further in there. I'm using one of these mini guys, and then we're going to pop up just a little bit. And then once you get that out, take your screwdriver, set it aside, and then walk it up. Just gently walk it up. And then set that aside. Next thing we're going to do is there are two screws. One right in there, one right in there. They're Phillips head screws. We're going to go ahead and remove those. Okay, once you've removed those two Phillips head screws, I'm going to go ahead and use with this magnet tool. You may have problems with them sticking in there. If you do, don't worry about it. When you lift the door panel up, they will fall out. Just be very careful that you're not around like a storm drain or something like that where the screws will fall down and go into the storm. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is remove this piece of trim right here. To get this off, there is a cosmetic cover down here. And there's a little, I'm going to go ahead and use this mini little screwdriver and get in there and pry the little cosmetic cover away from the screw. And there that. Okay, after I've removed the cosmetic cover away, I'm going to go ahead and use a Phillips head screwdriver, and I'm going to go ahead and remove this screw right here. Okay, with the screw removed, you got two options. You can use a larger flathead screwdriver and get underneath here, or you can use a trim tool. I'm going to go ahead and use a trim tool, but we're going to go ahead and remove this piece of trim right here. We're going to go ahead and get our screwdriver or our trim tool, and we're going to get underneath there. A screwdriver actually might work better in this case, but we're going to get down between here, and then we're going to pry up. Once you get that pried up, hold on to it with your finger, and then we're going to come down here and get underneath the door handle and the bottom of this trim right here, and then we're going to pry out. And there it is removed, and then what we're going to do, I'm going to lift on my handle here, and then I'm going to walk it out, just gently walk it out. And don't force it, just walk it out real gently. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove this piece of, I call it the master switch. And what you're going to do is, if you can get your finger underneath there, if you got any fingernails, go ahead. I just cut mine, so I don't have any. But you're going to go ahead and get your tool underneath here. You might want to use a screwdriver. If you're worried about scratching your car, put some tape on it. Okay, I've got that underneath there, and I'm going to use my trim tool Okay, I've got the trim tool under there. I'm going to get rid of my screwdriver. What you're doing is you're pushing on a tab underneath there. So you're going to push and lift. And there it came out right there. And I'll turn it over for you real quick. I'm hoping you can see this. But what you're pushing on is that thing right there. And so you're pushing on that, and you're just trying to get that to back up just a little bit so that it will pop out. Okay, if you look right here, you can see that there's a little tab. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is push on that tab and it release. If it's been 20-something years and this has never been done to your car, it might stick. One thing that you can do is just get a little gap and then stick a flathead screwdriver in there and then push on the tab and just give it a gentle little turn, and sometimes that'll get it to pop if it's sticking for you. And there's okay, the next thing that we're going to do, and there's two things left here before we're going to take this off, is there's a little, it looks like a screw, but it's really a clip. Got to go ahead and use a Phillips head screwdriver and just turn that sideways and it should pop out. And then once it does, just go ahead and pull that out and set that aside. And then you can use, this thing will almost come out by hand. You almost don't even need anything. But I'm going to go ahead and stick my trim tool in there. And we're just going to pop that out. And there's just little tabs that go in 2 little holes. And go ahead and set that aside. Okay, the next thing we're going to go ahead and do, I'm hoping I'm not in your way, but we're going to go ahead and remove the door panel. To do that, we're going to come in over here on the side, and we're going to look for a soft spot where it gives. And then we're going to go ahead and, where that soft spot is, we're going to go ahead and get a piece of trim, either a screwdriver or a piece of trim underneath there. Okay. Once you've got that, you want to kind of pry, and if you got a screwdriver, go ahead and find one of the tabs. The reason is, when it goes in the tab, it goes in like this, and when you pull it out, you kind of want to pull it out as straight as possible. And if you get too far away from the tabs, what you'll end up doing is, rather than pulling it straight out, you'll be pulling at an angle, and you might risk breaking it. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and use these panel pliers. And then I'm going to go ahead and walk it all the way around. Okay, now that we've got all these tabs, what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and grab ahead with my right hand right here. I'm going to grab with my left hand right here. And you're just going to simply lift up. And just watch your speaker over there as you're lifting up. Okay. After you pull this off, what you want to do is you want to go around and look in all your holes and make sure, I left one right there. There's a grommet right there. But if I'm going to turn this around, and if you look here, I'm going to try to get it in the camera. There's grommet there, grommet there, grommet there. I think there's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is the one that's missing. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out of there and put it right back in here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is, if you look right here, we've got what's called a weather barrier. And if you can see it, I hope you can see it, there's a black, like, sticky stuff. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use a heat gun. You can use a hair dryer, or if it's a particularly warm day, you don't really need to do anything. Just as you pull it away, you don't want to rip it. And you don't want to pull it away further than you need to pull it away, because it's kind of like saran wrap, you know, it'll get all messed up. So Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and use a heat gun, and I'm going to keep the heat gun moving. And then we're going to pull that away. Also, if you got a t-shirt on or something that you don't want to get dirty, go ahead and change it, because this stuff will get your, will go ahead and get your shirt dirty. Okay, after using the heat gun, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to gently pull this away. Take your time, don't get in a hurry. And we're trying to get to this hole right here. Okay, we're going to do a couple things. On the other side of the door, I've got a chair and something heavy sitting in the chair, so that when I remove this pin and the bolts, that it doesn't go flying away. You could really damage your door if you don't have something there. You don't want the door to open too wide. I also have something, you can't see it in the camera, but I've got something, a chair and something heavy sitting on the chair, so that the door will stay open and so I can work on it. So the next thing that we're going to go ahead and remove is we're going to remove these two 10mm bolts. We're just going to break them loose. Okay, good thing to use is use a deeper socket rather than the smaller sockets. They give you a lot more room and a lot more leverage when you're doing it with your fingers later. Okay, I've got my chair on the other side and a chair on this side. So next I'm going to go ahead and just pop this pin up. Go ahead and don't do this too hard, because you can reuse the pin if you don't damage it. And then I'm going to grab a set of pliers and go ahead and lift that on out and be ready for the door to... Okay, with the pin removed, we're going to go ahead and remove those 10mm bolts, and then we'll be ready to reach in right here and grab hold of the door check strap and pull it out. Okay, when you get that last screw or that last bolt out, you're going to go ahead and set the bolt aside, reach in to the hole here, and pull out the door check strap. One thing you want to make note of is which way does the door check strap go. In other words, in this case it bends inward and not outward. There is a little bend, I'll show you that, but it bends inward and not outward. So anyways, I got my hand reached in there, and I'm going to finish this bolt right here. Okay, I've got the last bolt out, and now I'm going to go ahead and pull it on out. Okay, I've got the new door check strap. I don't know if you can see that, but it curves a little bit to the right. And so that's what we want. We're going to put it in there so that it curves to the right. And we're going to go ahead and insert that, and then we're going to insert it back through the hole, and we're going to use our right hand as a guide. So we'll have our right hand here. We'll be putting this in through the hole with our left hand, and we'll guide it to our right hand. Okay, we've got the door check strap in. We're going to go ahead and start our bolts, and we're just going to get a few threads started and with both bolts. And you can do this a number of ways. You can look down in there, you can guide it with your left hand, whichever works best for you. Okay, with the bolts started, but don't tighten them down, just get them started so that the threads won't, there's enough thread in there that they won't fall out. You're going to go ahead and line up the hole. There's a hole at the end of the door check strap, and you're going to get it inside of this, the top and the bottom here, and then you're going to put the pin down into the hole. Okay, when you believe you got it lined up, go ahead and grab your hammer, and you're just going to gently bang it down in there. One thing to note when you do this is it may work its way up. You are reusing it. There is a little bit of a hole going up and down. You can insert a screwdriver in there with it when it's all the way down, and just maybe up just underneath the thing here, and just give it a little twist, and then that'll widen it out, and it won't continue to want to work its way up. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and tighten the two 10mm bolts, and then we'll start putting this all back together. Okay, with those 10mm bolts tightened down, and let me say this, if they won't tighten down completely on you, you might want to consider using like not some super heavy grade Loctite, but maybe a medium, a lesser Loctite. On a couple of the other ones, I could not get them to cinch. They just wanted to keep spinning. They felt fairly tight, but I'm just saying you might want to go ahead and consider to do some Loctite. And that was even on the manufacturer ones, the one that came from the dealer. On my rear ones, I couldn't get them to tighten down completely. So just go ahead and grab this, and we'll just stick it right there where the sticky things go. You can line it up. Okay, we've got the bolts back in there, and we've got our weather barrier pushed back. And now what we're going to do is make sure all 8 of your plastic grommets are back in place. And then, I hope you can see it, but there's these little plastic tabs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this around, and we're going to hang it up here along the white portion of the door. And so anyways, I'm going to turn this around, and let's go ahead and watch the speaker up there. It does kind of get in the way. Okay, when you've got it lined up correctly, you'll be able to look through the hole here on this grommet, and then you'll be able to look through all of the other grommets, and they'll be lined up. The screw, where the screw goes, you'll be able to see that, and then you want to make sure that all these grommets are lined up. And you just kind of look in the door, and you can kind of see that they are, and then go ahead and give it a little pop. When you're done with that, go ahead and walk your hand all the way around and make sure there's no gaps. Okay, we're going to start right here with this plastic screw. Mine is broken. It doesn't want to work for some reason, so I'm going to have to go down to a dealer and get one. It won't expand out. But what you would do is you'd want the top to be sticking out, and then you'd go ahead and stick it in the hole here. And then you'd want to push in, and then you'd want to give it a little turn until it stays. But again, mine's busted, so. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do this piece of trim right here. And when you watch these people do this, this video is heavily edited, so it doesn't always go on as easily or come off as easily as they show it. So anyways, we're going to take this, we're going to lift up on this, and we're going to go ahead and, if you look right here, there's a little bit of a tab, and that just goes back in there. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and lift up, slide that around, go ahead and bring that around, and then I'm going to push it in so that it's in over here. And then there's that, and then I'm going to go ahead and push it in right here. And there's that. Now I'm going to go ahead and take that screw and that Phillips head screw, and put it right in that hole. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my 2 screws. I'm going to put one in right there and put one in right there. Okay, with those 2 screws, that one there and that one there, and they're cinched, and you don't have to get them too tight. Just get them in there. This isn't going anywhere, so just, mine wouldn't cinch down real hard. Go ahead and take this final piece of trim right here for this, and we're going to go ahead and set it on top of there, and then we're going to press down on top, and we're going to walk it down. And there's that. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take our electrical connector and we're going to hook it here to what I'm calling the master switch. And so, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and grab it, and we're going to go ahead and slide it on in until we hear a click. Okay, and push it on in until you hear it click, and you can go ahead and give a little tug, make sure it doesn't not going to come out of there, but until you hear that click. And then what you're going to do is go ahead and flip it over, and just gently, there's a little tab back here, so you're going to go ahead and insert it down and underneath, and then go ahead and then push down right here. And that's that. So anyways, I hope that went well for you, and if it did and it helped you out, please go ahead and comment, let me know, and please go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and then we'll save some other people some money as well, because dealers are charging like $140, and I'll put a link in the description. I'm not an affiliate, but I'll put a link in the description for some of the tools that I used and the door check strap, which I think I got at 1-8 Auto. But anyways, I'm not an affiliate, so I'm not making any money off this. So anyways, hey, thanks a lot for watching.